Hello, this video today is about living in Switzerland as a German. When I moved to Switzerland, I think it's more than 2 years ago now, in the beginning I found a lot of distinctive differences. And the basic first thing I think was in Bern when I saw that there were velo parking. Velo. That sounded French to me, but that's the word for bicycle, and the German word would be Fahrrad. Another part is that like if you use an apartment, the door handles are also existing on most apartments on the outside. In Germany, you would only have a knob, which you can do nothing with. You can just pull the door close, and if you want to open it, you always have to use a key. But in Switzerland, you usually have a handle on the outside. That's another interesting part. The biggest change though is when you go shopping, you bring all the stuff home, you're gonna eat some stuff, you're gonna have to throw something away. In Germany, there's the institution called the gelbe Sack, which means like the yellow bag, where you have to use all the packing which you have and put the packing in there and separate the packing from the other garbage. And even in some cities, you are obliged to separate like organic waste as well. You sometimes have to have one drum for organic, one drum for the yellow bag, one drum for your normal waste, maybe even a glass drum and a paper drum. That's a little different in Switzerland. So here it is that you have your normal waste. The paper is going to be collected outside every few weeks, where you would just bundle it. Carton, sometimes you have like a container, but there's no separation of the waste in your household. That's a major difference. When it comes to trains, there's a funny thing. In Germany, a train right now, don't get me 100% right on this or wrong, it's 5 minutes, and till 5 minutes, it's not late. If a train gets cancelled, and this is a true story, if it gets cancelled on the way, it's not delayed. You really hurt me. A cancelled train which never arrives is not delayed. So therefore sometimes the German railway organization is giving their statistics, everything gets better, and basically if they cancel trains, everything gets better. In Switzerland it's 3 minutes. And after 3 minutes you will get an announcement on the train that the train is going to be late, what is the reason, and that they apologize for it. That's a huge difference. On the other hand, the part of if the train is late, in Germany there's a paper, you fill it out, you get some money back depending on the amount of delay you have. In Switzerland it's a little more difficult. So right now I just go to the SBB centers and talk to them about it. When it comes to working rules, huge and massive differences to Germany. In Germany, you get hired as a person, you have either a timed contract for 1 year, 2 years maximum, or in slices basically. And if you have a full-term contract, which you have to get after 2 years, you can only be terminated if the company is going bankrupt, or if you behave massively against the ideas and thoughts of the company. That's the only reasons you can get terminated if the company is larger than 10 employees. 10 heads doesn't mean the hours. In Switzerland, it's different. You can get terminated basically any time unless the reason is not approved by law. By racism, etc. That's all bad things, and you should never terminate a person for that reason. But if you just are not happy with the person, not happy with the work, basically you can be terminated for that. On the other hand, when you're sick and you're out of trial time, you cannot be terminated. Unless it's a long-term sickness and basically you will never recover. But under usual circumstances, your contract will be automatically renewed and forwarded and being extended. There are some exceptions to this, but as a general picture, you got the point. Public transport systems as itself, just to go back to that topic, also the amount of trains coming, the simplicity of the systems, The year pass for second class, first class, a lot easier in Switzerland compared to Germany and a lot cheaper. Though the country is smaller as well. Let's put that in account. Shopping. Crazy thing. If you're German coming here, you're going to be surprised how many supermarkets or normal stores and train stations are open long before regular opening hours in Germany and long after. I mean, in both directions, a lot of stores are open more often, and especially also on Sundays, where in Germany usually stuff is closed. In Switzerland, you can still go to Coop or Migros and go buy something. While in Germany, you have to rely heavily on gas stations, which it seems to me are not that widely common and spreaded as in Germany. You tend to have more bigger gas stations than you have it in Germany, although that also reduced by a lot. And finally, the topic of language. So me speaking Hochdeutsch and living before in the south part of Germany, I have a hard time understanding Swiss German. And it really doesn't matter if it's Swiss German in Basel, if it's the Wallis dialect, or if it's French, or if it's Italian. But even in the German speaking part, I have a hard time. And sometimes, funny-wise, also the Swiss people have a hard time with me, especially when I talk a little faster. At the end, I'm the visitor here. I want to stay here. So I have to basically make sure that I get adjusted, and I would say I get a lot better in understanding people. And I usually have this phrase, if I do not understand you, I will make a funny face, which probably doesn't work on a phone. And happily, the most authorities and most Swiss people so far I met, they offer Hochdeutsch, and we get along more easily. But it's in my own interest, also being a volunteering firefighter for the Milizfeuerwehr, to understand Swiss German. But work in progress. That will take a lot more time. If you want to learn German in Switzerland, you come from another country, you basically speak English already, for example, it's going to be tricky for you because the language classes here teach you Hochdeutsch, and then you go out on the street and you want to practice something, and suddenly people talk in a different way and use different words. Beware. Still go out there, talk a lot, and it will get better by time. This is basically what I felt, what I saw as the major differences for me being here. We could go in a deep dive on the insurance system with the health insurance, with the medical service, etc. But I think so far it has been enough to say like, yep, they are close countries from the borders, they're just neighbors, but there's a huge difference and a massive difference also in culture, and I have a lot of respect, and I'm really happy to be here, to be welcomed. I've had zero negative experiences since I'm here, being a German, and I do my best to contribute to the society. And let's see, it's a few more years till I'm allowed to stay here for longer, get another permit, and I plan to stay here most probably forever and become a Swiss. You will see part of my journey here, all my travels around Switzerland, but also my struggles every once in a while, adapting still to the circumstances. But I'm doing my best. Have a great one. See you next time.